Hello everyone, this is a tutorial for the TriCaster TC1. In this video, we're going to be learning to use features like transitions, downstream keys, and virtual sets. Let's start by taking a look at the home screen where you'll have access to the main menu. At the top there's a message, and by default the TriCaster will automatically open the previous session. You'll have 15 seconds to click or press any key to cancel this action. Now let's go over how to create a new session, open session, and shut down. To create a new session, enter the session name. In the session settings, choose the volume where you'd like to store your session. We'll use the D drive. Next, choose your template. Always choose testing session when creating your first project. The video settings can be left the same. It's important that you find yourself back at this home screen when you're ready to shut down the TriCaster. Now let's get started opening a previous session I've set up for this tutorial. The first thing we're going to do is take a look at the live production interface. This is where you'll find all the different options for your show. The TriCaster has 8 live video input sources, 4 of which are SDI inputs. Take a look at the preview window. This is where you'll see what your broadcast will look like. And the program window will show you what is currently being broadcasted to the viewer. Relative to the preview and program window is the preview and program switcher. There is also a mix effect switcher, and this is something we'll talk about later on in the video. Next, we have our media players, DDR1 and DDR2. We have graphic bins for titles and lower thirds. We also have buffer animations. Lastly, we have downstream keys, which will be used for most live productions. The audio mixer allows you to control the volume of a selected input. You can see if I mute input 5, the volume indicator on the screen is disabled. Input 1 is master control and should not be changed. And if you prefer having a different setup or workflow, there are many customization options to choose from at the top of the screen. It's important to know the differences using local sources and network sources. Selecting the gear icon will open up the input sources. The local source has 4 local inputs and are physically plugged in and controlled by the black magic on the computer in the control room. The cam source controls all the outside cameras to the stadium. All sources below the local sources are network sources. The iMac source displays the scoreboard. The TC1 source controls the mix outputs from the TriCaster TC1. The TriCaster XD source controls the mix outputs from the TriCaster 460. Recording is always on mix 1 and can be located at the top of the screen. Simply click Record Replay to start and stop the recording. When you're recording, be sure to name your recording and save it to the correct path. I recommend creating a new folder and saving your session to an external drive. Remember to check for any notifications at the top of the screen. If you're having issues recording or importing, this is a great place to look. The control panel is where you'll do most of your work while recording your broadcast. The first thing we're going to do is take a look at the switcher panel. Here, we can switch between our live sources and create fades or dissolves between them. You can choose from the library of preset transitions and control the speed of the transition that you select. You can physically use the lever if you prefer to take a more hands-on approach. Any source you switch in the control panel will simultaneously switch on the monitor. Now, let's learn how to add video and graphics to the live recording. Now let's open up the DDR bin, which contains the video files for your broadcast. Simply click on the plus or add icon to select a video from the media browser. You can also select Browse if you like to import from an external source. Once you have your video selected, you can set your video to autoplay, loop, or single if you have multiple files. We can also add titles or lower thirds using the graphics bin. Opening up the media browser, we're going to choose an empty template and edit the title. From there, we can insert text and choose a photo. Clicking on that gear icon will show you additional options. Here, you can position and scale your media file. The TriCaster has 4 downstream keys, which allow you to preset your media to an individual key on the control panel. When you preset video or graphics to your downstream keys, you're creating custom shortcuts that can be used to quickly transition in and out of your broadcast. You can preset your downstream key to a camera source, media player, mix effect, or buffer animation. Notice that when the downstream key is enabled, the color of the lever changes. When enabled, you will only be able to control the transition of the downstream key, not the camera selection. Using the downstream keys enables an easy workflow during your live broadcast. Up to 4 downstream keys can be enabled at the same time. When the downstream key is enabled, you can control the transition of the camera selection and the downstream key by using the lever. For the last segment of the video, we're going to be looking at mix effects and virtual sets. Opening up the mix effects switcher, you can see there are 4 rows: A, B, C, and D. Each row corresponds to different sources. Clicking on the photo animation will bring up the media browser. Accessing the media browser, you can choose from a selection of virtual sets. Once you have your virtual set selected, open your DDR bin to place your talent on screen. Selecting the icon in row A will bring up a number of options. Here, you can position your talent to fit your virtual set. If the media file you chose has a green background, you'll first have to key out the color behind the talent. Selecting the gear icon will bring up a set of options. Clicking on the keying option will automatically key out the green. You can also try this with different colors if the background is not green. Opening the audio mixer, you can adjust or mute the audio of your DDR. It's important to know that each row on the mix effect switcher corresponds to different sources. Switching to mix effect 1 on the preview and program switcher will allow you to see which mix effect is being used. You must remember to select the correct mix effect option on the mix effect switcher. It may function the same as the preview and program switcher, however, there are some differences. Similar to downstream keys, the keys used for mix effects function the same. The major differences comes to using the lever. Unlike the preview program switcher, this lever cannot be used to switch cameras. When you enable a key and use the lever, you'll notice the size of the key is what is being adjusted. When all keys are disabled, the lever is used to adjust the composition of the virtual set. clicking on the composition, you can take snapshots of your composition and save them as presets. These presets can be created and deleted throughout your live production. And there you have it, a basic introduction of the TriCaster TC1. Now you can start your own live productions. Thanks for watching.